Hello, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Hey, I'm just letting people in. We've got some people still in the lobby, so we're probably going to be starting in a couple of minutes, or maybe 30 seconds. Let's see. So just get comfortable, grab some coffee, and yeah, we'll see how we get on. It's only going to be, Peter, how long do you think the presentation is going to take? Is it about half an hour?
Yeah, possibly a little bit more. I'm thinking of keeping it clearly below an hour, questions and answers inclusive.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll start the introductions, and then I'll keep letting people in as they come in. So thank you very much for coming. This is our final webinar of 2024, which seems kind of crazy to say. So it's going to be a very interesting topic. I've got my colleague Peter Palanen here with me. Official title, I think, is ArchiFrame Specialist. But he's an all-around cool dude here at ArchiFrame, helps a lot with support. He's a trained architect as well. So someone who really knows the ins and outs of the software and the design processes. The topic itself is called Making Your Own Element Elevation Layout, including custom dimension lines. But obviously, as always, you are free to ask questions. You are free to share things that you might have currently in your projects. I have the Q&A, I have the chat. You can also raise your hand using the raise hand function. Basically, just ask questions. There's going to be a question portion at the end of Peter's presentation, but I think you are also allowed to interrupt, aren't you, Peter, if you've got something kind of immediately that you don't understand or want information on.
Absolutely. Please feel free to interrupt me at any point.
Yeah, we want to sort of keep these meetings quite, fun and informal as well. But yeah, and you'll also be getting a recording afterwards. So if you do need to step away to do something, don't worry. You can check it up later. But yeah, without further ado, I'll pass the baton to my colleague Peter. And yeah, I'll be here if anyone's got any questions.
All right. Thank you for that, Kaylee. Welcome to everybody also from me. And yeah, let's jump right into it. Making your own element drawing templates. Maybe some of you have already had me do some of that stuff for you. Now you get to see how it's done more or less. So let me share my screen. There we go. Do you see my screen now?
I can't actually see it. Can anyone else see it? Try again.
Let's try that again.
It worked a second ago, so.
Yeah.
Just letting a few people in still.
Yep. Still not sharing?
No.
And I guess still not.
No, I'll let you know when I can see something. It's just at the minute I can just see the P, not your like camera or anything. Oh, now I can see myself. Yeah, you're screen sharing now.
All right, great. And now I presume.
Yeah, all good. Yeah.
Good. Alrighty. So for starters, I just recently switched to ArchiCAD 28. So let's see how that goes. And I'm using ArchiFrame's out of the package data. So I've created an own data folder for myself with only the element types that you have there, and let's go and take a look what's in there at the moment. So this is ArchiFrame's element types that is present in the default data in the own folder. Sorry. And I'm using the exterior wall that is in there with a few different layers. And also for the starting point of our template, I'll be using a new template that Petteri has created, and it is called looked from out to in, B plus S plus B, and so on. So right away, here's a novelty in the actual template settings. And as you can see, let's take a look at my elements here to begin with. Well, let's see the layers. So here I have core studdings and boarding on the inside, windshield studding and paneling on the outside. Pretty straightforward. Now on the template I'm using, it has settings for several more layers, and now we have a function that can simply turn these off. If I go further in, for example, here's the second out exterior boarding, even a third exterior boarding, and second and third boardings on the inside. So these are on by default, and I can go in and simply shut them off in here.
Is it possible to zoom in just a teeny bit on some of the dialogue stuff? I don't know whether it's just me, but if it's easy, don't worry if it's not. Perfect. Yeah, I think that helps a little bit.
Thank you, Kaylee. Yeah, the interface here is not the prettiest, but I think we shall overcome. So here's the exterior board number 3, exterior board number 2, create. So with the value of 0, the template won't create the exterior board 2, exterior board 3, turn that off. Interior board 1, that we want, but interior board 2 and 3, those are the 4 that we want to shut off. Okay, that. And let's go and recreate, allowing reposition. And this element I have created without an ArchiCAD wall. This is what this warning tells me. Okay. Here is what I'll be working with. And so, first of all, this template is the data for it is placed in the default data. And in order to properly go and make modifications to it, we want to copy that portion of the default data and paste it into our own data folders ArchiFrame elements file that is called elements ArchiFrame element changes. So let me show you these folders I have. Here's my own folder, and I'm on a Macintosh, so default data is on my desktop, and in my default data ArchiFrame elements, I have that open already in my text editing software, which is Brackets on Mac. Most of you, I'm sure, are using PC, and a very good software for editing these XML files. It's Notepad++. It's free. I think it's even better than this one that I'm using on the Mac. And here is my own data and the file that we will be editing is this one, ArchiFrame elements changes. So now, to begin with, let's go and locate this template in the default data. Here I have it open, and I just happen to be in that place. Let's say we open it up and we're at the very top of it. It's quite a lot of code. And just simply start typing the name of, for example, the name of the template. And it seems to be the first one that starts with the word looked. So this is template, and it's a little bit more advanced text editing software. So you have this nice function of just clicking on a tag, and you will see that the end of the tag will be highlighted. So I scroll down and I realized this is the end of this portion of the code. And so I'll copy all of this. Here we go. Copy, and then I'll go and open up my elements changes. And there we have it. This is what it looks like without any modifications to it. And under the tag pre-settings, there's already a commented line saying add custom projections here. I'll make some space for it to be able to find it nicely in the future. And here we have it. Let me see here. Could be pre-settings. Let's see if there's a better place for it. Oh, let's go with that placement. I think it will work. And let me see now if I will need a merge command. Let's place that in. This will tell ArchiFrame that this new template will be added to the list. Let's change the template ID and name, and then go into ArchiFrame and see that it actually shows up there. So I'll call it webinar template. And then for the ID, something similar. It's important that the template ID is different from the earlier one. This is the way ArchiFrame will distinguish between the different templates. I'll save it. Let's quickly see that we find it on the list. Go into ArchiFrame, open up the settings dialog, and OK it. That will have ArchiFrame read the data in again. And then let's see if we have the template. Well, it's not there yet, so I must have placed it in the wrong place. Let's see. Yeah. Let's see here. Yes. Add custom projections here. That's not where we want it. We want it actually under the tag LM templates. So add new elevation layouts here. Okay, let's make some room for it and try it again here. Oh, I need to go and copy it from the ArchiFrame elements once again. And there we go. I'll go back to the beginning. And now since this element templates tag already have a merge command and merge children, we don't need to add that command here at the beginning of the template line. And now let's rename it. Okay, I save that, and now let's make sure we have it on the list. And there we have it, webinar templates. Now, let's go in and see if I'm correct. It will now have returned the default values. So, for example, these board layers that I wanted to turn off, they are now on. Instead of changing these values here, you can also go in and find them and change the default of them. I'll come to that later. Or actually, well, maybe it's better to do it right now. Let's go and find those commands. So xboard1 create, well, that one we want to have created, but it will be xboard2. Xboard2 create. Here we have it. Says the default as the default is on, and I want it off. And then next one, 3, turn that off for good, so to speak. And interior board, I believe this is the way it's written, so let's put a 0 there, and this one there. And let's save that and read in the data again. And let's see how it looks like. Oh. Exterior board create 0. Good. So now when I OK this, these superfluous exterior boards should not reappear if I regenerate. Yeah, nothing happened. That's what we wanted. All right, so now we have our, excuse me, template to start working with. And let's go from the beginning. I will not go through everything unless you really want me to. I'll take the most important parts that I think you will find useful. Let's go into the projections right away and the layout. So one basic feature is working with groups. And in this particular template, you see that the components of the layout is placed roughly in 2 columns. And within the columns, the components are placed vertically underneath each other. So this is what this grouping system means. So to have 2 columns, you will first need 2 horizontal, or a layout, a group layout horizontal that is basically encompassing everything. And here's the end of it. And within this horizontal group, you will have 2 vertical groups. So here's the first one, and it contains pretty much everything that goes into the first horizontal column, and everything is placed vertically in this group since it's called vertical. And this is the next one. It repeats the previous command of placing stuff vertically. So left column from above first have some text. This is the ID text that we see here, the very large one, as you probably are familiar with or understand. If we have a whole bunch of these drawings, then in order to orientate the ID up top to be very big, in this case as a default is 30. The font size is 30. Next, text content, core from outside. This can simply be free to compose as you wish. I guess we're happy with that. Let's make a little change just to show how it's done. And then we have our first projection. The type is front. Projection types can be front, back, right, left, top, bottom. I presume self-explanatory. So first one, the wall will be seen from the front. Here are the meridians: left, right, top, bottom, and exclude and board panels. Those are the commands that decide what to show exactly in those in the projection. Little funny historical thing. When first one has to do with planks, and so when it comes to planks, we choose what to exclude. And here the default is to exclude all interior studs with star, meaning anything. It's a joker sign. So this means if you have 3 interior stud layers, they will be called in stud 2, 3, and 4. They will all be excluded from this projection. Same with exterior studs will be excluded, and any planks in the paneling layer, exploded plank board objects, board panels will also be excluded. And the second command is regarding boards, and this instead of exclusive, this is inclusive. So here you tell ArchiFrame to show boards. So by default, all boards are excluded, and here you add what to show. And the reason why the default core is there is that we want to show as a default the isolation objects, or the isolation which is placed on the core layer. Let's see. Next, we have the dimensions, and that applies to that particular projection. And in this particular example, there's a few dimension lines that are all grouped together under a dimension line reference settings that is called AN framing group studs. This reference, now we're referring again back to ArchiFrame elements. So let's go and take a look at how this looks like. I'm copying this, go into ArchiFrame elements, and search for this these keywords. Here we obviously have a paneling, so we have to go through moving upwards, and this seems to be the ID, the dim line, the group of dimension lines. And let's see how long it is. There it is. And now again, when we want to go in and make changes to this one, instead of changing it to ArchiFrame elements, the default data, which is completely possible, but with every update, you will lose your modifications. So that's why we copy this into our own data. And let's see if I place this correctly the first time. Here we have it add custom dim lines here. Make some room for it. And let's call it something else. Now, since we've renamed it, we have to go into our fresh template here and make sure we're referring to that name. Otherwise, it's referring to the original one that's found in the data folder. Let's go back to the one we just copied. And now we can start making modifications to this. So let's go and see how it looks like in ArchiCAD. Well, the texts are obvious. For example, let's take a look at let's go and make modifications to this dimension line. Let's first find it. Well, the text content is start mid. Let's put a couple of exclamation mark there. And now, since we have ArchiFrame in several languages, the default data takes that into consideration. We only need one for our own template, I presume. It's the individual original ID for the text as well. Anchor places the text from 1 to 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In this case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The anchor is middle right. And here's my region, the distance from of the text from the actual dimension line. Let's make some modification. Pens, font name. These are font sizes. These are self-explanatory, I presume. Placement is bottom. Margin from the actual projection. This is the direction of the dimension line in x coordinates. Here is what to place, what components to be measured. Adding y means vertical planks. Here's the anchor, where on the plank the point will be situated. So this is mid. Let's make a change there. Anchor first. And yeah, that will place it on the left side. So let's do the left here. And here again, similarly to the projection, we choose what to have measured. First, we exclude everything, and then we include whatever is on the core layer. And here comes an interesting bit that he recently added. Well, to this template, it's a Lua script for excluding grouped studs. And Lua scripting, it will be a series of webinar in themselves. I won't go into that at this point. Not nearly enough time for that. Yeah. Well, let's see what those changes do. Save that. Read in the data. And it regenerates. So I changed the name of the dimension line, also the font size and the color, and the point dimension point should now be on the left instead of the middle, and that's correct. So we're getting forward. Let's take a look at those ones again. These are obviously can be very difficult to memorize. So these are quite well documented in our guide. And here I have it, section 18. And let's see if they are here. Well, here in this section, or 23. Okay, so it should be found here. Well, here's we find 7 matches. Let's see if there's an explanation. I guess this is, of course, quite self-explanatory. But here you have it. Here's also anchor mid and anchor last. So it's a good thing to know. You can copy paste these keywords into the search engine of the guide, and most probably you will find what you're looking for. If not, just write me an email and I'll find it for you. Okay, a couple of more things regarding the dimension line. Let's say we'd like to change the way the actual dimension line looks like. And we have to go into dimension line settings. Let's see if I have, well, here, for example, is a tag that I can copy into the dimension line after the first tag. And now let's say we want to change the marker type. Or let's say we want to make it, let's say we want to make this dimension line cumulative. Well, that's exactly what I just copy pasted in there. And let's save that and go in and read the data. And if I'm correct, the stud left dimension line will turn into a cumulative dimension line. Okay, this will require a regeneration. So now, as you can see, the dimension line is cumulative. And in order to underline that, we might want to change this into, well, here we have an example of a cumulative line. We could go in and take a look at the settings for this line. It's further down for the top projection, or we can look for a keyword in the guide. I think it might find it in this thing. Well, here we have marker type, and we want somewhat of an arrow. So maybe number 4 could be something that we're looking for. And marker type is the command. So here, let's copy this line. Marker type. It's always better to copy paste this text because typos are not allowed. 4. Let's see if I got that right. Save and come back. Let's read in the data. I often forget to do that. And let's regenerate. Now we have an arrow. So now it's a clear cumulative situation. All right, let's go back and take a look at the projection here, how that looks like. Of course, now it's not called looked anymore. Webinar template is what it's called. Let's work a little bit with the front projection and see what settings we have. Let's say we'd like to remove the length in the ID text here, so we only see the ID instead of the length. For that, we need to place a projection plank setting. Usually they are placed in the bottom of the projection or right before the closing tag. And here we have a projection plank setting that is guiding the isolation. I'm copying that, paste it in, and here we tell ArchiFrame that it's about the core and object type. Well, this let's see. I wonder if I could find what type. I think that's definitely put meaning boards. I think one is plank. Maybe we can find this one in the guide. Let's see. Not there. Here we go. Okay, so planks is 1. I was correct. If we want to set settings for both boards and planks, and 5 is the number. Oh, -1 includes everything. But now we only want to go in and switch, get rid of the length. Yeah, I think I need to jump forward in my to-do list here, so I'll just quickly show. Okay, so how do we get rid of that? It's a parameter, object parameter, and all object parameters can be guided through the XML data. We just have to find the right one. And now let's take a look in the view settings. Let's see where we can turn it off. Show ID, show length. Let's try that one. Yes, there we go. Okay, so we know then that that's the parameter that we need to turn off. Show length. I'm opening up the object. I used a shortcut for that. Let me show you how it's opened up from here. So file, libraries and objects, open object. And here is the object code, and here are the parameters. Show length, I guess it was. And here we have it. That's the English word for it. And the object parameter is called iShowLen. Let's copy that and go into the data object parameter name. That's where I want it. iShowLen, and here's the value 0 off. Save. And again, read in the data and regenerate. And as you can see, all the pieces for this particular projection is modified so that length is no longer seen. Of course, we can individually go in here and set it back on. But after every regeneration, it will go back to the default values of the data. Alrighty, it's already 14:43, meaning that I'm maybe exceeding the time a little bit. At this point, I'd like to ask you if is there anything any questions that you have at this point? Let's see. No questions?
I think I had someone raising their hand. Is that Peter G? Feel free to unmute yourself. Yeah, I've got one question, but I can't see if I can see anything in the chat or the Q&A. Hello, yes, hi.
Hello.
Hi,
Yes.
hello. My name is Peter. Thank you for your presentation, which is very informative. I have a quick question because I have an issue that my ArchiFrame does not read the data from the folder, from my personal folder, and it reads all the data from the main data folder, from the element, from the, how was the file called? ArchiFrame elements from the main data folder, and not from the personal data folder. And would you know what the issue is?
Well, let's take a quick look. If it persists, then please hang on, and after the webinar, we'll take a look at it more closely. But in your settings, you should have the path to your own folder here.
Yes, and I do.
Okay, and then in that folder, the own folder that you have, it should look like this. Let me open up that just a second. And there you should have the ArchiFrame elements changes.
Yeah, and I do have that as well. So whenever I change something in this file, ArchiFrame elements changes.xml file, it doesn't read from this file, but it reads from the ArchiFrame elements file from the main data folder, and I don't know why.
Well, maybe if you hang on when we finish here, I could take a look. We could show your screen, and I'll
Okay.
see what might be the issue. Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
question.
Thanks. Thank you so much.
No problemo. Is there somebody else that would like to ask something?
Give me a quick eye. I can't see any more hands raised at least. I just popped the link to the user manual as well on the Q&A. And yeah, just as a reminder. But yeah, I don't think there was any other questions. Beta, did you want to? Oh, no, Jan Frode. Yeah, please go ahead.
Jan Frode is still.
Here.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry.
Perfect.
Hello.
Just a question. It's probably on the side, but is it possible in any way to have two separate layouts on the same element? If I have my walls with a layout from the outside and I want to keep them, but I want a separate layout of the same element sometimes looking from the inside in a separate element layout. Is it possible to work in two layouts at the same time with the same wall, or do you have to regenerate the wall with a completely different layout system?
Good question. Yeah, I think that's exactly how you have to do it if you're not content with having, let's say, one template that looks like two. That would always be present. They're always connected. In other words, like you have an element type, and that is you have a layout connected. So you would have to bake those two layouts into one template. But I guess that's not what you're looking for.
The question is if I have a complete element with a drawing that I'm satisfied with looking from the outside, is there any way to generate some kind of separate layouts looking from the inside? Sometimes I want to share some information just specifically from that wall, from when you look at it from the inside, but that's not possible in any way.
Yeah, no, you'd have to regenerate the
Yeah, you have to regenerate the wall with a different wall setting then. But
exactly. Well, yeah. Well, with this this create different projections to turn these on and off. You don't have to go so far as to have a different type or different template. But obviously, you would have to, in order to get back to, for example, if you would like to turn off, let's say we'd like to sometimes show a projection right here, one of those ones that I turned off, and I could go in and let's see if I find one of these. For example, exterior board 2 here, create. This, of course, could have any kind of settings. Yeah, well, then you would have to regenerate, allowing reposition every time.
yes, but do you now just change that separate layout, or do you change the wall type kind of for everything?
Yeah, this would be for all these.
Yeah, and then you have messed up like your complete project if you forget it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't have to regenerate all of them. If there's something you want to see, you could just regenerate one particular element or another, and then regenerate it back.
And then you have to put back the settings when you go to the other walls, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's doable, but a bit of a hassle.
Yeah.
Good question. Thank you.
I had another question as well from the Q&A, asking about the customization, whether this is something that the user has to do for themselves. Is it part of free support, paid service? Can you maybe maybe kind of open up the lines on how much you can do yourself, what's part of the kind of ongoing support, and what tends to be more like a paid customization? Or does that depend a little bit?
Low today. It's these templates, let's say modified or customized templates is something I've been doing quite often for customers that have decided that they need it and are willing to put down some coin for it. So it's a paid service. Some of our customers have gotten into this text file, the XML modifications, and have been able to do it themselves. And we of course encourage our customers to do so. And I guess that's the purpose of this webinar. But yeah, it's a bit of work. If you haven't done anything similar to that, then it might feel like too big of a project. But with some time, I think anybody could get into the basics. For example, what I showed right here. I think anybody that's doing this kind of work in ArchiFrame definitely have the wits to pick up some of the basic XML modifications, even just based on this webinar recording. And also, I'd like to tell everybody that every Tuesday between 3 and 4 Eastern European time, we have a free training session. So you can come in there, and if there isn't a whole bunch of people asking some even more basic questions, then you can, then I'll definitely answer your questions and show how things are done if I'm able.
Yeah, so I think it's like if it's a big hurry and you have a little bit of budget, you can kind of buy it as a done for you service. Or if you have a bit of time, interest, curiosity around these things, you could try doing a little bit yourself. And then, like Peter, you said, come along to the free training sessions, send an email, if you get stuck. Because I think in the beginning, like Peter, you said, once you get going, that's kind of how you learn how to do that, the customization side of things.
Yeah.
So it's a mixture essentially, depending on what needs doing essentially. Any other questions? We've got some good questions today. Thank you everyone for being so switched on this close to the holiday season. I'm pretty impressed. Okay, yeah, I think Jan Frode, feel free to.
Yeah, not a question, but just a request for Peter, if it's possible. I wish there was some way to regarding my last question, to kind of split up. Sometimes we would like to, but not always, just sometimes I would like to be able to have a separate drawing just for the insulation core, from looking from the inside in some kind of way without interfering with all the other wall element drawings. If there is some possible way to be able to twist your brain and somehow, and just some way to say that this wall or this element, I would like to just to look at it from the inside and tell my workers what they need to do in some kind of way. without having to change everything and regenerate. And I haven't really figured out. I can make an ArchiCAD cut and then glue that into a separate layout to use 3D and just. But I wish there was some way for me to say I just want this wall. I need to share information extra without having to go through all this process. Just a request.
Yeah, the only way I think that could be done is either to switch the template and regenerate only that particular wall, or the other possibility would be to have a copy of the element settings. And so basically have two different wall settings.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And have the different template settings for that particular wall. And so then you would basically go in and change the wall settings, and instead of recreating the whole structure, you would do a regeneration for that wall. So instead of changing the template, you would change the wall type, basically.
Yeah. We'll get back to it. I'll see.
Yeah, I think in order to get closer to exactly what it is you want, it's a job for Petteri.
Yeah, I understand. Thanks.
Thank you.
I think there's a question potentially on the Q&A. I'm going to try to read it. It's from Marius. You should upgrade create update dim drawing function that you have for planks to also be possible to use on elements. Then you can generate a new own layout, but form that tool instead of the predefined wall type. Did you follow that, Petter? I don't know if Marius, you wanted to jump in and add anything to that.
That sounded like I had a cough attack in the middle, but now I have.
Can
I
you
have
see
the
the
chat
Q?
open
Can
here.
you see it on the Q&A?
I think Jan Frode was wishing for a function like that, so you can select one wall and then generate just the view from
Right.
behind, kind of like you do with update dim drawings for planks.
Ah, okay. Okay, so it's a suggestion of how to potentially make that
Yeah.
happen. Take what happens with the planks and pop them in the elements. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll pass this on to Petteri, and let's see.
I'm literally copying it right now out of the chat. Yeah, go ahead, Jan Frode. Did you want to?
Yeah, that was kind of what I was looking for. The ability to, you can do it with planks. You can by creating a separate dimension drawing. You can actually create a separate drawing. I just wish I could just tell kind of the same function that this element I want a dimension drawing looking from the inside without having to bug up the drawing I already have from the outside. I don't want to change that one. I just want this wall. I want the dimension drawings looking from the inside, and then I can use that to share some information if there's something special. So it's kind of what Marius is saying would be cool. What happens if is it possible to just mark the core layer and then kind of create a dimension drawing out of it? But it would probably just be too much. Or
Oh yeah, that could be an idea. That sounds like a good idea to attach a separate dimension drawing to that.
But mostly I just need the core, just looking from the inside, just to have something to use as a foundation for the information I want to share with the customer, with the carpenter, like some special things they need to know. But yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I pasted that onto an email to Petteri already. So, and I'll loop Petteri into it as well to clarify on exactly. And to be fair, we are doing a little bit of looking at features and user experience. at the minute. So it's a good time. So yeah, thank you a lot for that feedback. Really appreciate it. But yeah, if that's everything, we've hit our time. Thank you very much, Petter, for your presentation. It was really, really interesting. And as a reminder for everyone, you will also get a recording. Now, if you do have any burning questions, I'm sure Petter will also be happy to answer them over email. So is your email, Petter, is it just peter@archiframe.fi?
That's it.
Yeah, right. So yeah, so peter@archiframe.fi. You can email him directly. You can email myself, Kaylee@archiframe.fi as well if you have anything, any feedback. And yeah, I'll also be sending round the recordings as soon as we go through them. And yeah, thank you very much for attending. It was really great to see you. And we will be updating on what we're doing in January. Peter, you were teasing potentially we're doing some Lua script things. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll get people voting and see what the topics are. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone, and have a good holiday season as well.
Yeah, thank you very much, and Merry Christmas to all. And Peter G, if you still feel like having me take a look at your issue, then please hang on and see how we take it from there.
Yeah, I'll stop the recording now.